They introduced too many secondary characters. You got Dr. Corby figuring in way too much. You got Anson Mount's girlfriend is in there way too much. I love Nurse Chapel, but we have too many Nurse Chapel centric episodes. I mean, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of these writers. And again, with my marketing mind,
Yeah,
who are they writing these for?
yeah.
Because if I was the showrunner, I'd be saying, if you're going to sideline Anson Mount in this episode, explain to me why.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Like what creative choice are you making that's going to be better
It
by
justifies
him
that.
not, yeah. And I'd
You
love to
ought
hear
to
what
be
that answer
in
is because I'm playing this out in my
pictures.
head and I
You're
can't figure it
wonderful
out.
to see. You ought to be in pictures
This
all
is
the
Sans James, obviously. I've been telling James, obviously he's been doing a few on his own. He doesn't watch TV shows. He's not a Star Trek fan,
Yeah.
but I've got to talk to somebody about this. Like I'm just bubbling up. I got to, for weeks now, I've been saying I want to talk to you about why I feel Strange New World season three kind of went off the rails a bit. A big fan of season one and two, but we kind of put that on the back burner. We never got around to it. But now that Starfleet Academy is dropped, I thought I gotta talk to Liz about this, and then maybe we can segue a little bit into Strange New World season three, because I think some of the reasons that season three kind of went off the rails a little bit is front and center of why I have a problem with Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
But
All right.
we shall see. But then maybe you like it. We haven't talked about this yet.
That's true. Well, in all fairness, my rule of thumb for myself is give it 4 episodes.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. Fair
Um,
enough.
Especially, I mean, 4 episodes was always obviously ideal in the old days of old network TV when there was, 20, 22, 25 episodes a season
Sure.
of TV. So you had to give it, six kind of thing to let it go. These days with the 6 episode with these,
Ten,
streamers,
10
that
episodes, yeah.
6 episodes, BBC does them, CBC does them, that 6 episode thing. It's episode one or you're out kind of thing. You don't have
Yeah.
much more time. With the standard streaming things that are 8, 10, 12 episodes, yeah, I'll give it 4. Because
Mhm.
if you've got something like Star Trek where there's a sprawling kind of ensemble cast, you know that there's no way you can squeeze everybody into the first episode, into the pilot, to establish absolutely everything. There's going to be spillover to establishing the people, the relationships, the world, and all that kind of thing into the second episode. So I'm willing to give it the 4 and let it kind of find its feet. It's also really impatient, childish. I don't know, double
Yeah.
standard. I'm setting my own double standard. I gave Star Trek: The Next Generation 2 full
Yeah.
seasons before it found its footing, kind of thing. I kept going
Yeah.
back, kept going back. We all did, and that was okay. So, 30 episodes I gave it to find itself.
But that
So I
was
can
the 80s. We had a little more time to be patient. But there was a lot of uproar.
That's
If
true.
you
There was
remember,
also nothing else to watch.
there was a lot of uproar back in those days as well.
I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Um, so if I can give that a couple of years, granted it's the 80s, if I can give that a couple of years, I can give this 4 episodes.
Right.
I think we talked about this briefly. Strange New Worlds feels like it was slightly impacted by the strike, at least the writing process might have been. And there's, incoming showrunners, outgoing showrunners. I think most of the writers, from what I've read in other things, the showrunners and the writers recognize that, and they realize that there was an inconsistency
Right.
in Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds, I will go back for season. I guess it's 4 coming up. I'll go back
Absolutely.
for season
I,
4.
I love Strange New
Absolutely.
Worlds.
Yeah,
Despite any disappointment I might have with season three,
exactly.
it's still Trek for me. It's still
Mm,
it may have slipped a bit,
yeah,
but it's nothing that can't be rectified because I really like season one or two. Season
exactly.
one and two.
Exactly. And the cast and the who would probably be the returning writers earned enough goodwill from season 1 and 2 that, you can't be perfect all the time. They had 20 straight episodes with no flubs. So, that's kind of It's
Well,
something
I would say some were stronger than others. I wouldn't say that there was no flubs. There was a couple swings and misses, but I agree with you. By and large, there was no
yeah.
episode where I thought. I think we're deviating from Starfleet Academy. We're on Strange New Worlds, but
I'm
that's
getting back. I'm
fine.
getting to that. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say Strange New Worlds was pretty much, it was batting 1,000 up until episode 3. Some were better than others. That's always going to be the case. You can't ask me.
Season three. You said episode season three,
Oh,
right?
sorry, season 3.
Yeah.
You can't expect anybody to do that, put out that much consistently and not screw up at some point along the way. And a swing and a miss is better than not taking a swing. I'm fine with that. Which brings me to Starfleet Academy. I see what I think they're trying to do. There's a very kind of calculated feel to Starfleet Academy. I've called it in various times Starfleet 90210 or Star Trek 90210. Now, Star Trek Felicity is a good one. Judging on from episode 2, Starfleet Felicity would be the better choice. Star Trek the OC is a good one. I see what they're trying to do. You can't really perpetuate a franchise like Star Trek into its 60th year now without generating new viewership. We're going to die soon. We're going to die one day, and there's going to be a limit to how much more how many more of us will be around to continue watching. So I see the kind of far-reaching production logic behind it. Let's go with a younger demographic. Let's go with a younger story. Let's go with younger storytelling. Let's go with the kind of storytelling that TikTokers watch, with a Starfleet, with a Star Trek spin. Whether or not it works in the long run is the question. And after 2 episodes, and I'm rattling on here, not letting you say anything. After the first 2 episodes, I am decidedly in the camp of, I know it's a cop out of an answer.
Yeah.
Kind of cowardly as an answer. Oh, I don't know yet, but I legitimately haven't got a clue. Deep Space Nine, right off the bat, I knew I liked it. Strange New Worlds, right off the bat, I knew I liked it. Discovery, right away, I liked it because it was something different.
Yeah.
Whether or not it maintained itself is another story.
Mm-hmm.
Starfleet Academy is the same kind of thing. I will give it credit for being different. Whether or not that kind of Frankenstein they've made of various types of shows, whether or not it works, it's going to take work. So I need those 4 episodes to see, because the first are completely different from each other. So.
Yeah, for me, it's all about trajectories, and I've been very hesitant to be one of these haters who just hates all new Star Trek, which has not been me. And so I'm very hesitant to come out with a real anti thing. But having said that, I have a real I'm thinking, who is this made for? And as you said, it is a younger demographic. Let me start by some positives. So, because I don't want to just be, I have this problem with it and this problem with it, and just be the grumpy old man. There were some things I did enjoy. I love the concept of, it's not just almost what they had to do with Deep Space Nine. They couldn't set it just on a space station. They eventually had to give it a ship.
Yeah.
They realized at the beginning, we're going to have a problem if we just Earth base this in San Francisco. So to have a hybrid between a ship, a school ship, and an actual campus, I think is a brilliant idea. And I love that. And I think there's a lot you can do with that.
And it makes perfect sense, too. If you're talking about training people to be a spacefaring organization, why don't you do your practical training in actual space?
Yes. And almost like Hogwarts, you're going to start to fall in love with certain teachers, and they have really unique personalities. And I think Tig Notara is, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I think she's brilliant. The more scenes with her, please, more of her. She lends the gravitas the show needs. And if I'm going to go on a limb and say this, listen, if you feel because of the rotation, okay, we had a white male in Strange New Worlds, we had to because of Chris Pike. Okay, so we have to go female this time. If that's the logic behind this, then it has to be someone with gravitas. If you're going to anchor a show around someone, whether it's William Shatner, whether it's Patrick Stewart, whether it's Avery Brooks, whether it's Catherine Janeway, they have to have gravitas. I have to be able to follow this person into battle. Anson Mount to me is just radiates gravitas out. He's got a cone of it around him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tig Notaro has
Mm.
that. I would
Right.
have made her the captain of this whole shebang and made Holly Hunter the quirky teacher. That
Mhm.
is, that was the route. Because I don't know who thought, okay, we got to find a female anchor for this show. How about Holly Hunter?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who was in that meeting when
Yeah.
that was decided, because this is not a critique about her. She's a tremendous actress with a long history. It's just not who I would have gone to anchor a Star Trek franchise.
Okay. Fair
And
enough.
and I've already offered another suggestion, even within
Mhm.
their present company. Um, the other aspect too is, and I think this is a critique I'd heard from, it was either Rick Berman or Branna Braga, the former showrunners from Star Trek's past, saying one of their critiques of New Trek in general, but I think it's front and center in this show, is using slang from today. I mean, what are we in the 32nd century? And
Yeah.
you're saying I'm a Katorian bitch and
Yeah. Yeah.
thingers, and it's
Welcome the
like
bird. Yeah. I'm going,
I,
really?
I'm like every time they would do that, something in my stomach would cringe, because if this is going to reach a new generation, there's a certain amount where you have to market,
Yeah.
and I understand that, but then you cross over into pandering, and
Yeah.
once you start to pander, you've lost me. I feel there's way too much pandering in these first couple episodes. We are going to, and there's almost a feeling I get
The
because
Bigby Garden. Yeah.
and there is almost a feeling I get where there has been so much blowback in not just Star Trek, but in sci-fi
Yeah.
wokeism. And I hate going down this road, but I almost feel like I'm this middleman who's, you've got this some kind of agenda over here that's going to show the world we want it to be, and
Mhm.
this other group over here that just hates it, and they keep fighting, and I'm standing in the middle going, would you both, the Hatfields and McCoys, just both
Yeah.
of you put your guns down?
Yeah.
And can we just have normal Star Trek again? Yes, we can have diversity, but I don't have to feel every episode
Yeah.
like it is like I'm getting hit in the face with it. Like we have some kind of agenda, because the minute you feel like I'm being preached to, or there's an element
Mhm.
where, even when they're talking at the beginning about, and I'm still learning names and everything, but the boy separated from his mother. And obviously, this is a direct hit on Trump's policies
Yeah.
in immigration, which I totally deplore. Anybody who knows me, I'm like the biggest anti-Trump guy. But when you are hitting it so hard in the nose, it takes us out of Star Trek of the 32nd century, and it brings me back to here, and I don't want to be here.
Fair point. To which I would say, but that's been in Star Trek since 1966.
Sure. And
On the other hand, and we all know it, that's
yeah.
always been what Star Trek is. And Star Trek has never been, you want subtle, you go to something like Denis Villeneuve, or you go to, Ridley Scott. You go to these,
Sure.
I don't even know about Isaac Asimov, some of the giants kind of thing. You go someplace else if you want subtlety and nuance in your science fiction allegories, because that's not Star Trek, and they've never even tried. So I'm okay with it,
Okay.
especially when, now, admittedly, it's kind of preaching to the choir for me, because most of Star Trek's, kind of progressive slant, I'm like, yep, sounds good. Bring it. Bring it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's preaching to the choir. I'm never going to look at the content and go, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is absolutely, it's not going to happen. So that's fine. I think a lot of the kind of getting your back up about that kind of thing, James and I have talked about this about other things.
Yeah.
Is it feels like less Star Trek and more CBS, Paramount being performative. And
Yes.
that's always my issue. Disney loves to go on about how, they like to go, oh, look what we did in this new movie. And you're like, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
do
Don't
that.
talk about it. Don't.
Yeah, just
Yes,
let us feel it and let
yes.
us go, oh, this is the world as it is. Strange
You
New
don't.
World is great at that because
Yeah,
the bridge is almost entirely women, and I didn't even notice it until someone pointed it out to me. And I
yeah.
think it was you.
Might have been. Yeah, it might have been. Where uh
Yeah.
and those were good characters. I mean, I find the Strange New Worlds, I mean, bringing it back to them, we can kind of go back and forth a little bit. Strange New Worlds, and you and I have talked about this. I don't have a problem with any of the characters. I think the characters are actually very solid. And I think this is what makes for the show. My issue is this: the reason you have a Strange New Worlds is singularly because Anson Mount stood out so much in second season Discovery
Yeah.
that the fans demanded his show.
Yeah.
At the end of that last episode of Discovery, when the Enterprise went right and
Yeah.
Discovery went left, I'm like, I want to go with those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the ship I want to be on.
Yeah.
And then they would do these little 8-minute mini Trek episodes.
Others.
You know, they had Spock in number one, Ethan uh, Ethan what's his
Heck.
Peck? Yes, Ethan Peck. He's Gregory Peck's
Yeah. Yeah.
grandson.
And he sounds
And
like
yeah, he does. And Rebecca Romaine. And for 8 minutes, just put them in a broken down lift and
yeah.
having them talk together. I almost got teary eyed because this is the Trek that I
Yeah.
wanted to see.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, that triumvirate, just like in the original series, you have a triumvirate and then you have a very strong, well rounded cast. Now, when you have 22 episodes in in a season, you can kind of have the Uhura episode,
Yeah.
or the Sulu episode,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But when you have a 10 episode season,
Yeah.
I feel like Anson Mount is increasingly becoming a secondary character on his own ship,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, no, this show needs to be anchored on Anson Mount specifically, and that triumvirate of Spock, number one, and him.
Yeah.
I would make of the 10 episodes 6 centered on those three,
Right.
and then you can have a 4 to play around with a little bit.
Yeah.
And too often, you know, they have the enemy mine episode. I forget what the episode's actually called. And they have, I think is it Ortega's or is it
It's Ortega's, yeah.
Thing? Yeah, Ortega that was there. Again, Ortega's a fine character, but I want to see Anson Mount there, or I
Right.
want to see Ethan Peck there, or Rebecca Romaine there. I want to see one of those three, not Ortega, because to me, once you get away from that triumvirate, you start to dilute
Mm.
the whole reason we came to watch this show in the first place. And that's where I start to feel like there's forces at play that are not thinking about the best interests of the show. They're trying to create equality or something. Like, yes, marketing wise, it would be smarter to put Ethan Peck or Anson Mount there, but we don't want to be that kind of show.
Right.
People should want Ortega to be there. And damn it, we're going to put Ortega there. And that's what I feel comes across. I don't have a problem per se with it. It's just I'm feeling you're creating these situations where I don't think it's driven by marketing. I'm actually teaching marketing right now to year 9s. And I'm thinking, what is the marketing research on this really? Like,
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
curious, who is your audience? Who are you delivering this show to? Is there an imaginary audience you wish you had, and the real audience you actually are forced to deal with? And I think this is an ongoing issue, not just with Star Trek, but a number of other sci-fi and fantasy franchises.
Yeah, there's something inherently. I see where you're coming with the other thing about Strange New Worlds too is that the whole show was spun off with the end game being him in the beeping chair from the original series kind of thing.
Right.
So and Spock goes on a rogue mission to get him and all this kind of thing, and we have to get to that story. That seems like the end game for Strange New Worlds and for Pike. He knows he's going to die, but he knows he's going to be in this accident and all this kind of thing. So it seems to be we're supposed to be going in that direction, and I'm fine with that. And because that seems to be the kind of the story in the back that's the engine that's driving the whole thing, you need more of that, more often, and more references to that. And that means number one, Spock and Pike. Now that said, they did a really good job of building all these other supporting characters, so it could be Pike and Chapel, Pike and, so and so, or
Right.
Ortega and
Sing.
Fawn doing something, kind of mixing them all up.
I even love the whole Sing and Kirk thing,
I was,
but yeah, I mean, I don't have problems with these per se, but I'm
yeah.
sorry, I interrupt. Go ahead.
No, not at all. Yeah, they built all these other these other supporting characters that they wrote and the actors performed in a way that made me like them. So when they went off in tangent and had that so and so episode, I was okay with it. I think I'm more okay with it than you are. I liked the Ortegas episode, and I liked that it was her. She hasn't really, and it's one of those things, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't give her an episode to flesh out the character, to give us something to chew on with Ortegas, the season's over and you're like, well, then of course there's Ortegas, who's the pilot, and that's all she does. It's a no-win situation for the writers. Now, I have a problem with the kind of proprietary Star Trek fans who claim they know what Star Trek is supposed to be, and no, you don't. It's 60 years old. If you don't like it, if you don't like this, go off and make your own. I don't, if you don't like, no one's forcing you to like it. If you don't like it, great. If you like this one and not that one, move along. There's plenty out there to look at. So just get over yourselves. Same goes for Star Wars, who are particularly awful. There's probably Batman people out there who, there's too much access for people to kind of, including us right now, pass judgment and say, well, blah, blah, blah. But, if there's a majority of people who are just, hey, take it or leave it, dig it or don't, it's not the end of the world. If that's the majority, they're not speaking up loud enough. All we hear is the freaks on the two extremes. So, So for Starfleet Academy, I feel like it's got a giant target on its back, because not only is it something completely new, we don't know any. I mean, we know some of the supporting characters from other little bits. It's something completely new. It's a completely different vibe. It's a completely different tone, which is hard to judge completely in only 2 episodes. But
what do you think of them setting this in the third? What do you think of setting them in this post-burn 30? I think it's the 32nd century. As opposed to the timelines that we're much more familiar with.
Now, I like that.
Okay.
I like that because it's uncharted territory, and you can be truly creative. And this is Star Trek. Go hog wild. Like, come on, let's go with this. Which goes back to your point earlier about, however, don't hand me this, blah, 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 bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, the language hasn't evolved in 300 years or something, or 1,000 years, in a millennium. The language hasn't evolved. Oh my God. And I understand, you want it to be kind of catchy and you want people to recognize it, but that's not the point of creating a new version of Star Trek in the 32nd century. If you're going to put it there, make it new. The new tech is great, all this kind of stuff. Change the language. Really good at this was The Expanse. Which was based on a series of books, but they were very good at that, at creating a language, kind of a vibe, a mutation of English spoken by Belters, because it's way in the future and it's way far away and it's created its own culture. This needs to do the same thing. And they're relying too much on not only what we know of Star Trek, but what we know of the world right now. And that never worked.
No, that's agreed. I mean, you look at Battlestar Galactica, they used vocabulary that was unique to their, and Firefly would mix Mandarin and English.
Exactly.
There was some kind of level of, one of the things I've always loved about Star Trek, and I'm turning 60 years old. Star Trek premiered the week I was born. So when Star Trek had its 25th anniversary, I was 25, 50, now 60. I've always been able to chart my years by how old. So when this started up and it said Star Trek 60th, I'm like, of course, I'm turning 60 this year. I'm as old as Star Trek. So I have been here since the beginning. And one of the things I've always loved about Star Trek is it's competency porn. It is porn for people who love competency. It was never bringing that group down to our level. It was always setting a higher level that we could aspire to.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel in these first two episodes, and like yourself, I'm willing to give a few more episodes to see if this can kind of shake out a few things, just as the first season of the next generation. And the next generation, though, realized
Yeah.
they made some creative decisions that were wrong. And
Yeah.
I'm not so sure because of the blowback, and there was a lot of blowback in the 80s about Next Generation,
Oh,
but
yeah.
obviously because of the internet and things online and YouTube, it's just, you know,
Faster.
hyped up to 11. But there was a happy medium that was found, that there was some bad creative decisions made, and they corrected them. And I don't feel that with the current slate of showrunners, there is a desire to meet halfway or to kind of accommodate, because not every criticism, even from the haters, is without merit.
Yeah.
There is some merit there, even if sometimes it's a little too vitriolic and hyperbolic for me. And so for the creative elements to not recognize that you have a core. Yes, I know you have to plan, as you said, for the future, but you also have to accommodate now. And it's what Star Trek Picard struggled with. Oh, we're going to just have Picard for the first couple seasons and maybe a cameo from the next generation, but we're going to build this new crew. And it's like, no, we don't want that. And so what happens in season three, they make that creative decision. Okay, let's meet the fan base halfway. Let's give them what they want. They get a season that everyone loves. By and large, everyone loves Picard season three. And so I think if Academy is going to succeed, there's going to have to be on the creative showrunner side some acknowledgement that there are creative decisions that you are making that aren't even very smart marketing wise. Like you still have to turn a profit at the end of the day. And so you'd be wise to at least hear a little of the criticism. I gotta admit, going into the first episode and kind of getting a rehash of the Abrams, I've got a trauma kid who had some bad things when he was younger. We've got this person with a lot of potential, but he's got trauma and he's got a lot of issues and an axe to grind. And I find that storyline really boring.
Tired. Yeah.
It's like I'd much rather have a kid who's done really well, and I've made it to Starfleet,
Yeah.
and I'm meeting my whole group of friends, and we're going to save the world. Because at one point, when the admiral says to the Betazoids, "Oh, this is our future," I'm thinking we're screwed, man.
Yeah, exactly.
If this is our future.
Exactly. That was what I didn't know what they were going to do here. There's the opening scene, and they take her away. That stuff was good because I also liked that. That's what Star Trek does well. That opening segment where Holly Hunter, the new captain, whatever Chancellor, she's obviously struggling with this decision she made. She followed the letter of the law, but it was wrong. Kind of thing, and she didn't have any leeway to go. There's got to be some way we can, punish this woman, but also not destroy her. And it's something that Strange New Worlds hinted at ever so delicately, and never really had the balls to fully examine, which is an interesting concept within Star Trek. That whole episode from season 3, "What is Starfleet?"
Yeah,
and it opened these questions, or brought up these questions of, so is it an exploratory or is it an army? Is it discipline? Is this discipline or is it fascism? And it was an interesting kind of dialectic that they were starting to examine and then just kind of dropped.
Yeah.
And Starfleet Academy, Starfleet 90210, did the same thing in that opening segment. It started to broach this interesting, very Star Trek kind of concept of right, wrong, when is the law not just, this kind of thing, and then kind of dropped it because I thought, this is the kid who's going to grow up in Starfleet or something. He's going to grow up in a Starfleet orphanage and then go into the academy kind of thing. He'll be educated by Starfleet all the way up into his, no. It's the typical kind of daddy issues, mommy issues, that whole thing. I'm a kid from the wrong side of the tracks, and he's going to tough guy, and there's gonna be the bully, and the wounded street kid with a heart of gold, all this kind of thing. And I'm like, really,
Yeah. Yeah.
really, really? Because the other way, having him go through the system and come out of the system as we know it now in the 21st century as a miserable, broken mess of, foster care and,
Yeah.
homes and all this kind of thing. Oh, well, in the 32nd century, maybe we fix those. Maybe it's a different outcome then, and explore that. And it didn't. It went back to kind of cliches, genre cliches that Marvel does anybody in the Marvel universe not have a problem with their father or something?
That's
And
what I find increasingly. It's always daddy issues. It's always trauma. Whereas in Star Trek original series, Next Generation, even Voyager, even though you had the rebel group, I forgot the name of the rebel group in
Bucky,
Voyage, the Maquis, they were always very competent, and and I think they kind of lost it in Voyager because that first season they really had where how do we accommodate two different worldviews on a single ship?
yeah,
And it would be interesting,
that's
we love to celebrate the diversity and the inclusion. And we always look at the most positive aspects, but we never look at how difficult it is. Because there's reasons why the Klingon Empire and the Romulans, or based on the Chinese and the Russians,
yeah.
are singular ethnic groups. It's because it's a hell of a lot easier to have a singular group. We never really deal with the real challenges. And you and I live here in Hong Kong. We know what it's like when you're not here just on a 2 week trip and you're like, oh, it's such wonderful how everybody gets. It's when you have to do the day to day where people who prioritize things at a completely different place than you prioritize things. And to have that element introduced to Star Trek would if you're going to bring in the diversity and inclusivity, then really go all the
Oh,
way.
yeah,
Go all the way,
yeah.
and show that yes, it has tremendous positives. And ultimately it's where we should be going and heading, but it's not without a journey to get there.
It's not
And if
easy,
yeah, it's not easy.
and it
And
doesn't.
I think sometimes we just in Star Trek they make it a little too
It's Roddenberry's utopia.
yes.
It's that Roddenberry-ish utopian, and bless him. I would love that utopia to, the post scarcity and all this kind of thing. We don't use money anymore. Oh, it'd be great. Like it would be great to do all that kind of thing. And I think that's why Deep Space Nine is one of my favorite treks, if
Yeah.
not my favorite Star Trek, because it does do that. It has all that stuff. It has all that typical kind of Star Trek progressive diversity,
Yeah.
political stuff in it, but it had the audacity to kind of put all these groups together who were constantly at odds with each other. They
Yeah.
weren't necessarily coming to blows all the time, but there was always that fear that something was going to pop off. And,
Yeah.
here's the Federation trying to be the moderator. Bajor had every right to be pissed with the Kardashians, all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I was
And then here
brilliant.
come
It
the
was
Demet arc,
yeah.
and all that was really, really good. And that, it's a classic of Deep Space Nine for a reason. The one where Captain Sisko tricks the Romulans into joining the war effort by murder. It's
Yes. Yeah.
kind of spy shenanigans, and he knows it's wrong and he doesn't care, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do this because for the greater good." That's an excellent episode,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's like
Yes.
peak Star Trek, and that's
Yeah.
what it does best.
I couldn't agree more, Liz. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. That and the very first episode, the first 10 minutes of Deep Space Nine at the Wolf 359 battle with the Borg is still I get goosebumps
I
every
love
single
that.
time I watch that. And I just feel that some of the criticism of the new Star Trek sometimes does not take into consideration those things that gave us the goosebumps
Yeah,
from earlier Star Trek.
yeah,
And I wish there was a little more of a bridge between them. And it's not that, and as we've said, it's not like New Trek has like totally failed. There's been some real successes, but I think at times they have sabotaged themselves. And I
yeah.
think Academy is in danger of sabotaging itself almost out of spite.
Mhm.
And we'll see. We'll see how where this trajectory goes. Even having a hologram character as if you're from a planet of holograms.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I already see the episode that's coming down the pipe where we're going to have a data tribunal about whether this is a real person. And it's like, to me, a hologram is too far removed from where we are to have that kind of conversation. I think there needs to be more representation of the things that we're really dealing with today. And so when you start inst integrating gimmicky characters, or even there was a little too much uh, Moss Eisley Cantina element to what I'm seeing with there's too many fuzzy creatures and little things. Yes, absolutely. I'm sure in the universe there's all kinds of different things. But again, who are you marketing and who is watching this? It is human beings. I love the line where in Star Trek 6, where they're having dinner with the Klingons, and the Klingon accuses the Federation of being like a human sapien centered,
Yes, exactly.
and I'm thinking, and,
Is racist.
in theory, there will be all these other races. In reality, who's watching this TV show, it's human sapiens and, Homo sapiens, human beings. Yeah. And so I think they need to talk to their marketing people when they're making their creative decisions.
There is something, I mean, we've discussed this with other people as well. There's something to be said for the week to week drop of TV shows in the current, in this model right now, where you have your choice between week to week or dump it Netflix style, dump the whole thing. For some things, I like the week to weeks. I want to sit with it and think and let it kind of simmer and stew and go, okay, maybe we're going to go there. Okay, I'll reflect on that and then come back next week. For some shows, that's really good. For others, you just want to kind of just ingest it all in one go, like it's one long book kind of thing. You don't stop your book you don't stop reading a book every chapter and come back to it a month later kind of thing. You just kind of keep going. And Strange New Worlds, because it's episodic, it works week to week. This one I feel like, man, maybe I want to see more of this. Maybe I want to just get the whole thing in one go, because again, I don't know these people as well as I know the crew, the production crew on Strange New Worlds. So I don't trust them as much because I don't know them. I trust the Strange New Worlds people to fix it. And like you said, course correcting, listening to, getting feedback. Course correcting is easy when you have 26 episodes, because when you go to air with episode 1, you're still in production on episode, 15 kind of. Yeah. So it's a little easier to course correct when you have that much time. When you're doing 10, there is no time. You're finished. Everything's in the can and in post before you get a chance to go, oh shit, maybe we should have. Okay, fine.
Yeah, and they've already finished Strange New Worlds. They've cut, so there's no more changes. If they screw up 4 and 5, it's
5 is short.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I mean, to me, Strange New Worlds is singularly the best show that they've had come out. And I don't know why they seem to again be sabotaging themselves. When to me, I would just keep writing number 1 Pike and Spock episodes as long as I could, because there is so much. Those 3 are who I want to watch. I just want to watch those, and again, you can have the group around them, but one, they introduced too many secondary characters. You got Dr. Corby figuring in way too much. You got Anson Mount's girlfriend is in there way too much. I love Nurse Chapel, but we have too many Nurse Chapel centric episodes. I'm trying to put myself in the mind of these writers, and again with my marketing mind, who are they writing these for? Because if I was the showrunner, I'd be saying, if you're going to sideline Anson Mount in this episode, explain to me why. Why are you doing this? Like, what creative choice are you making that's going to be better by him not? Yeah. And I'd love to hear what that answer is, because I've played this out in my head and I can't figure it out.
We were just talking about the future, cultivating a new audience for Star Trek. Talking to the people at Paramount or CBS or whatever. You had a gem for the future right there in your hands, and you killed it. Did you see Star Trek Prodigy, the animated?
Yes, yeah.
On Nickelodeon specifically for children, which never talked down to them. Mm-hmm. The storytelling was excellent. Yeah. It had some amazing dialogue in it, some gorgeous visuals. and 20 episodes per season. I mean, they're short-ish, but nonetheless, there was 20 of them, lots of room to grow.
But they
Good
were
characters
witty
that
and
had
smart.
actual arc, characters with an actual arc. I hated the main character in the first episode. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be one of these kids. I don't know if I can do this. By the end of the, 20 episodes later, 40 episodes later, I'm like, okay, you're still a little bit cocky kid, but there was growth. There was character growth and shit. So, when they talk about, we need new viewers. I'm like, you had an excellent show to find yourself some new viewers, and you killed it. So I don't know what you're trying to, because it was also, Prodigy was so good that I watched it alone, an adult, with no children with me either. It wasn't like, oh, come on, come on, my 6-year-old nephew or whatever, we're going to watch Prodigy together. It was just me. I'm going, oh, I'm going to check out this Prodigy now. It was that good. And so I'm like, you had your chance and you let it go. Yeah. It found an audience on Netflix after you dumped it off Paramount Plus, and and now it's just kind of like, we're not going to bother producing anymore.
Well, if you read the trades, it seems like
Starfleet.
Well, if you read the trades, it seems like Alex Kurtzman and that whole group is on their way out anyhow. It seems like generally the people upstairs have not been happy at Paramount with where Star Trek has been. And, they want to reboot the whole thing again. And I'm thinking maybe they need to. And it's unfortunate that Strange New Worlds has to be a victim of that, because I would love to see more Strange New Worlds. Starfleet Academy, we'll see where it goes, but I'm still I'm thinking, well, even while watching this, does Starfleet Academy not have any phys ed requirements or something?
Right.
I mean, come on, I'm sure they're not running the 6-minute mile.
Yeah. I understand you need to be smart in all this, but there's a security department in Starfleet, and like you said, not to dump on everything. There were parts of Starfleet Academy, the first 2 episodes, that I really did enjoy. There was a couple of good moments. I do like and what I need to find out more about somebody who is half Jem'Hadar and half Klingon.
Yeah.
I need more of this. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Oh my God, what a combination. And that's a great character.
Again, I think it's a fun character, Liz. I wouldn't make it the number one. To me, it's too quirky of a character. Like the Holly Hunter character, there's different characters, almost like at Hogwarts, I would have as teaching different classes, and there's a quirkiness to them. I don't dislike them. But for me, and maybe it's my own, the way I come into this, the persons who is taking those spots, whether it's Kirk and Spock, whether it's Riker and Picard, whether it's Chakotay and Janeway, they have to be command gravitas folk. And this is not a female thing, because I'd follow Janeway to, I'd go to the Gamma Quadrant with her, and I'd trust her to get me back home again. She's amazing. Voyager's still one of my favorite shows.
Has problems, but I do like it.
Yeah. It's
same thing.
But
I make 26 episodes or something. You're gonna.
And 7 of 9. What young man, when Voyager came out, didn't want to be assimilated by 7 of 9?
I think everybody wanted to be assimilated by 7 of 9. Male, female, other, dog, cat, animal, vegetable, mineral. It's just like, whoa. Okay.
When she used to say, you will be assimilated, I'm thinking, is that a promise or a threat?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, sure. Yeah, okay.
My wife's going, ah ha ha, in the kitchen.
And Jerry Ryan was great at it, and she's great as the disassimilated post Voyager. They still call her 7, of course, but
she's still great, though. I agreed. She was one of the strongest characters, and I'm glad that they.
And fundamentally, that's the problem. You get maybe it's, you're right. Maybe it is time for a wholesale reboot, because. You do get into that kind of, not rut, but a groove that's safe, it's easy. We'll do this, this will be like this one will be quirky, this one will be serious, this will be the Doctor bubble, and kind of painting by numbers rather than creating a new a new crew, a new vibe, and that whole kind of thing. The dudes who supposedly Paramount has pegged to make the next Star Trek film are the two dudes who made Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among
Oh,
Thieves.
okay. The last one, yeah, I
Yeah,
quite enjoyed
which
that one. I didn't
I
realize that.
really liked. Yeah,
Yeah.
super underrated.
Well, and
Oh, that was
as a
great.
Dungeons and Dragons player myself, they honored Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that's all a lot of these folk that are a little more vocal than I am in their pushback on Star Trek is I feel they don't feel respected or seen,
Mhm. Yeah.
and anywhere on the spectrum, if people feel like you're sidelining them, they're going to react negatively. And so, I would, as marketing, I would have some high profile haters,
Yeah.
ones that would be genuinely interested in contributing in a meaningful way. And what would be a good way of hearing legitimate concerns? Where's the meeting point? Again, I'm one of these bridge builders. How do we get the Hatfields and McCoys to lay down their rifles and so we can all have a picnic together? I feel like I see both sides of this argument of this issue. And I really, at the end of the day, I just want good storytelling, good Trek, something that fills me with optimism. I'll never forget and it's the Latin term that they use in, I think, the first season where number one is put on trial. And she gives a couple statements in the courtroom that I was getting misty-eyed. And I want that feeling when
That's a
I
tough one.
watch Star Trek. Like we as a humanity, we're not there yet, but this is where we're going. And
Yeah,
who wants to come along with us? And I feel that some of the new Trek, it's hit or miss on that.
that's true. And like you said about a couple of the episodes from Strange New Worlds 1 and 2, big swing and a big swing and a miss. You know what? At the end of the day, I'll take the big swing, even if it's a miss sometimes.
Yeah,
'Cause
agreed.
at least, oh come on, can we do so? I'm a I like my Star Trek the way it is. And if I want to see that kind of Star Trek, I've got an entire collection of DVDs that I can go back to that and look at
Hmm.
that Star Trek. Maybe Academy, and I'm hoping for the best. Maybe Starfleet Academy is going to just be such a divergence from what we think of as normal Trek that it'll be refreshing and wonderful. And that's what I hope. And I will hold out judgment until I see otherwise.
Maybe we should
Also,
do this at the end of season one.
yeah, we should totally revisit because also it is one of those things where it is very clearly got teen drama vibes all over it, and everybody's been talking about that for a reason. It's all episode 2 was the OC or
Yeah, yeah.
Felicity or whatever. It's the two of them going, oh hi, I'm the Beta Z chick, and I'm like, oh, here we go with the romance. And that's on me. That's not necessarily on them. They might have done that well, and I wouldn't know it because I don't like that kind of show.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's in Star Trek. I don't care if it's in a medical show. I don't care if it's in an actual teen drama. It's just not something I'm ever going to watch.
Well, you know what Tammy said, because she was watching some of it with me and she watched a few of those scenes, and she said it's the same thing. If you're going for a young audience, who's watching it with the Star Trek motif? There's enough other young people's shows out there. Why are they suddenly going to watch Star Trek because you've OC'd it?
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
that's the weird part. That's the weird Frankenstein.
it comes back to the central question for this whole episode is who is this written for? And I'm still perplexed to where that audience is because I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
yeah, I'm not sure who it's for either.
Yeah.
Because sure, the beta said girl and the bad boy with the heart of gold. They have their little thing, which is obviously going to be an ongoing thing. But the B story was the stuff that I do like in Star
Hmm.
Trek, the politicking and the diplomacy, and Beta said going, well, I don't know if we want to rejoin the Federation, and this is what happened, and you let us down, and all that kind of, and then the two admirals are doing this, and there's the diplomats, and all that stuff. That's my jam. That's my jam. I love
I
that.
totally agree with you. Granted, it's kind of stupid. There's no way that you would suddenly get their position in public in front of everyone. Like, oh, surprise! This would have been sorted behind closed doors and then
Absolutely.
publicly.
6 months
Be that as
later.
it may, it's an hour TV show.
Exactly.
We can cut edge. That is not something I'm going to critique overall. I agree with you. I want to see more diplomacy,
Yeah.
and I'm not a big fan that they've gone to the 32nd century. However, my caveat of that is it does mainly because it's so far in the future. We really don't have an idea of what it would. I mean, it's just it's for me, it's ridiculous to set it that far in advance. It's too unrooted from anything we would understand today. Having said that, the idea of there having been a bit of a cataclysm and you got this mission to bring everything back together again, I think that works. Whether they can do that well, I don't know.
Fingers crossed. Next Thursday, at this time, episode 3 will be a revelation.
Well, from first season of The Next Generation, I mean, I think Will Wheaton has grown on us over the years, and now he's become a kind of a beloved character. But that first season, we all know what happens when there's a young person who's smarter than the adults in the room. Everyone hates him. And if
Yeah.
they don't fix this central character in this show,
Yes.
everyone is going to hate this guy.
He is a problem. He's not a problem, but he's the scene where Jem'Hadar, Klingon #1 teacher dean, where she puts him in his place and tells him he's going to get this, 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 and you put your bag on top of him, and she's just like, yeah, she's right. He's a dick, and he is doing everything wrong, but that's how you start a character, and he has to go someplace from here. He either gets worse, which might be better, or he gets himself together. So we'll see. It's Star Trek. He'll probably get himself together. He's the main character, and he's totally built. So there's going to be a lot more nudity in this one.
Of course.
I'm okay with that.
I'm sure you are. Going back to Star Trek, this is what I need more in Star Trek is really competent, thoughtful people with really good dialogue discussing issues. Give me 10 minutes of talking why the Beta Zeds and the Federation need to come together and the different issues and bringing up who screwed over who bat in the past, but done really, really well. Oh my gosh, just give me the popcorn. That's what I want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a whole scene of them, a whole scene of the Beta Zed guy, Holly Hunter, and Captain Admiral Vance. Yeah. Just the three of them sitting in a boardroom would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have been all over that like a cheap suit. But yeah.
And I wish Star Trek would get its message across without a big neon sign saying, "Oh, this stands in for this," and if you don't like this, you're a bigot, or if you and it's like everything is designed to provoke a reaction, and to me, it's just it's low level writing.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if it's designed to provoke a reaction or if it's produced specifically. Do you get it? Because media literacy is falling.
Well, you're right.
And sometimes you kind of go, "Did you really need?" I get it, but I get it. I learned that shit in school. You learned it in school, and you don't learn it anymore. And there is no media to really parse anymore because there's there's only so many sources all of a sudden. So I don't know if it's low-level writing or if it's sometimes notes. Supposedly, I read this someplace else. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did an interview with
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
With Joe Rogan. So somebody just sent it to me. The clip where they're talking about how Netflix is changing. Yes, I just had that sent to me.
Yeah. I read something about it. I guess it was written from copy, paraphrased kind of thing. And I went, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting comment. And that's exactly this kind of thing. So can you make sure that everybody gets it? Can you write this to make sure that they get it? Because I don't know if anybody's going to understand that it's a metaphor for, abortion. And so is it the writers or is it the studio going, no one's going to get that?
It is the way the system's set up these days, it is a bit of a Frankenstein monster.
I have no idea which one, and it's a chicken egg thing. I don't know which one's come first. Has writing gotten dumb, so we've gotten dumb because no one knows how to read anything anymore, or
But if you
My
keep
guess
dumbing down, then we keep dumbing down together. And to me, Star Trek's always about trying to raise us up just a
yeah,
little bit.
aim
And
high.
so respect your audiences that we're going to get certain things, and you don't have
Yeah,
to hit us over the nose with it. And you still have to, again, you still have to have, I mean, I'd be interested what the demographic is of the Star Trek audience. And my guess is you're still looking at, I mean, just off, and tell me if you think this would be wrong. My guess is it's going to be at least 60% white male is going to be, more than half is going to be white male. Would you say that that's wrong or no?
I haven't. I honestly don't have a clue. I would say yes, but there has always been this kind of, I don't know if it's a minority or like a lunatic fringe, but there's always been that community out there of, quote unquote, non-white Star Trek nerds. And there's tons of
Absolutely. And that's why I
them.
would
And I
put that
think it's
40%. That's why I'm saying it's
yeah,
sick. But
I think it
it'd
might
be
be more.
like if I was creating a show that was geared towards a Hong Kong audience, it's going to be geared to the Hong Kong audience. And
Yeah,
I put a black Hong Konger and a brown Hong Konger and a white Hong Konger. And I filled it with that. And then I say, oh, yeah, throw a couple ethnic Chinese in there too.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I make the argument, hey, you should be able to accept it anyhow. Yes, you should be able to, but from a marketing standpoint, if I'm directing it at this market, there has to be decisions made. We don't live in that utopia yet.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so until we get there, we have to take it step by step. And I just think at times they're not always, it goes back to my argument about Picard second season. People were screaming, "Give us this! We want that! We want!" Oh, no, no, no! You should be happy with this new crew we've given you. Well, you
yeah,
should be happy with this new. Okay, we'll give you what you want. Ratings spike. Everybody watches it. Everybody
yeah,
loves it, and it's like there's still a critical mass. Even though you need to develop, I totally agree. You have to develop a new audience. There
yeah,
still is a critical mass out there of the old audience, and if you make them your enemy,
yeah.
you're not going to go anywhere with Star Trek.
True. But if you constantly
Pander
um,
to them. Yeah,
pander, yeah,
I agree. I
not
agree.
pander, give in to them, you
Yeah,
get you're static. It doesn't go anywhere. This is exactly what happened with the last two Star Wars movies. I'm a Star Wars
yeah,
person. I was,
yeah,
my mother, I got into Star
yeah.
Trek because my mother was into Star Trek. I
Right.
was the Star Wars kid, and she
Hmm.
kind of got into it because I was into Star Wars. So fine. So we always had the two in the house. And it was just, I couldn't believe, I'm going, really? We're all supposed to be fans of the same thing? Because I thought it wasn't perfect, but, show me anything that is. It wasn't perfect.
Hmm.
But The Last Jedi, I guess, the middle one
The middle
of
one.
the recent of the last trilogy, I thought was pretty good.
It was the best of the three. It was the best.
Yeah,
I thought it was the best of the three, and I'm a Ryan Johnson fan. And Wake
yeah,
Up Dead Man in Knives Out is
right.
just unbelievably good.
Loved it, loved it. And I think what I liked about Last Jedi, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but same thing, big swing.
Yeah,
He kind of looked at it and went, "Let's try something else. Let's try this." And I found that really interesting and
yeah,
really refreshing. And I was like, "Yay! It's something else in Star
yeah,
Wars. It's
yeah,
not Boba Fett and Jabba. It's new." And then the little bitchy fanboys who
yeah,
don't like sharing their toys went Disney backed down, and that's what
yeah,
they did. They didn't even pander. They backed down.
yeah, yeah,
They didn't have the balls. And I got J.J. Abrams, who is a master of copying shit. He doesn't do anything particularly interesting ever.
mm,
He's a master. He's a master copycat. He came in, copied and pasted some bullshit onto the third one, and that's what you got.
yeah.
So you wanted it. You didn't like someone trying something new. Fine, we'll give you what you want, and this is what it is, and it's garbage. So
To me, the biggest
oh,
sin,
hard.
the biggest unforgivable sin in those three movies is that you never once had Luke, Leia, and Han fighting together. I mean, to have submitted a script, and if I'm overseeing the whole thing, show me where these three are together because that is what we grew up on. Han, Luke, and Leia. Again, it comes back to the triumvirate. if
Yeah.
you don't center on what made it great in the beginning, you're going to lose your vision. And
And they are the gateway. They are the gateway to the next generation. So
yeah,
I was surprised that there was no Han, Luke, and Leia. First one, fine. I liked the ending of the first one with
mhm,
angry Luke. I liked that just fine. But there should have been somewhere where at the beginning where the three of them were in
mhm.
one space. Then you can kind of get rid of them little by little and hand it off to the new ones.
Sure.
Great. But you do need those original ones because
Yeah.
they're the gateway. They're the doorway. You're not,
That's what
no
we,
one's
yeah.
going. Yeah. So
And to me, this is what you got with Pike. Pike, you've got a legacy character there who's got history in the franchise.
yeah,
That is your pillar. I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm beating a dead horse now.
Or like I said, you either go with that or you wipe the slate clean and have brand new people that we don't know.
Yeah,
Don't give me Uhura, don't give me Pike, don't give me Kirk, don't give me Sulu, don't give me anybody I know, give me all new people. And Academy is almost there, but they're giving us people we do know. Tig Notaro we know Jet,
yeah.
and we know Admiral Vance, and we know some of these other ones. And I have
And
a feeling
Robert Picardo,
exactly, the doctors. So
So we still have AI stealing our jobs in the future. I'm thinking that's what my thought is. Like you couldn't employ a human to do this.
exactly. So they haven't had the nerve to go all the way on the limb and just go brand new,
Yeah,
all new people, all new planet, all new people, all new characters, everything, all new
yeah,
ships, everything, just all of it new. And that might be probably where you need to go because then you get brand new people who have no idea what they're talking about. And if it's decent storytelling, you'll get you and me watching it anyway because
yeah,
it's Star Trek. Oh, and it's well written and it's good. Oh, I don't know any of these people, but let's go. I'll go there.
yeah.
So. But if we could,
We
if
can
we, if
keep
we had
talking forever.
exactly, and if we were in the boardroom, we wouldn't be sitting in a computer right now talking to each
Exactly.
other like this. We'd be in a fancy backlot, some Paramount backlot, someplace, whining about the new boss. So
We missed our calling, Liz. We
we
missed
did.
our calling.
We
So,
totally. I should never have dropped out
anyway,
of school. All right.
hey, great talking with you as
Likewise.
always.
Likewise.
We'll do it again at the end of the season. See where we're at.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
You're on. You are
Yeah.
absolutely on. I'm down for that one. That would be fascinating. In the
Sounds
meantime,
good.
send bitter or tears or whatever texts like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, let's keep the WhatsApp lit
Oh,
up
yeah.
for.
Oh, hell's yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah. Okay.
Good, good.
All right. Regards to Tammy,
We'll do. Enjoy your afternoon.
I will. You too.
All right.
Have a beer.
Bye bye. Yes.
Talk to you later.
Bye bye.